For decades, the dominant scientific worldview has defined the human body as a highly complex biological computer. In this model, every thought you have and every emotion you feel is a chemical byproduct, the predictable output of biological hardware. This worldview creates a specific logical vulnerability. If the brain is viewed strictly as a processor, it follows that any superior hardware eventually built by engineers will inevitably outclass the biological original. The rapid acceleration of artificial intelligence serves as the ultimate stress test for this theory. We are suddenly confronted with synthetic systems that can process information and recognize patterns at scales no biological brain can match. If we continue to define ourselves strictly as computational machines, the creation of these advanced algorithms marks the exact moment we become obsolete. Physicist and inventor Federico Faggin warns that this scientism, the insistence on the machine analogy, is a dangerous misunderstanding of what we are. By accepting the belief that we are biological algorithms, we create a self-fulfilling prophecy of subservience. We begin to act like the programmable units we believe ourselves to be. This outlook allows global power structures to use artificial intelligence to enforce a grid of control. When the population views itself as a collection of inferior machines, they become easier to manage through the very software they created. Attempting to regulate AI through new laws or technical limiters is a futile defense. As long as we retain a subservient, mechanistic mindset, no amount of legislation can protect our autonomy. The impending technological takeover is a metaphysical crisis. It forces us to decide if we are truly just sophisticated hardware or something that the current materialist model cannot explain. History provides a blueprint for how civilizations survive these moments. Between 1453 and 1492, the collapse of the Byzantine Empire at Constantinople scattered scholars and ancient texts into the West, breaking the existing monopoly on knowledge. During this chaos, typography arrived. The printing press was immediately demonized by the church and the monarchy, who understood that their centralized control depended on being the sole gatekeepers of information. The press bypassed those gatekeepers by mass-producing text, placing the tools of knowledge directly into the hands of the public for the first time. This democratization of information led directly to the Renaissance and the Age of Enlightenment, shifting the focus of human life toward individual reason and cultural awakening. Artificial intelligence is the new typography. Just as the printing press was feared by the institutions of the 15th century, AI is feared today because it carries the same potential to strip away centralized authority. AI serves as the mandatory historical catalyst. It creates the pressure necessary to move society past its current extractive models and into a new era of decentralized intellectual power. Navigating this shift requires a specific intellectual approach. Investor Ray Dalio observes that true progress depends on the ability to look past the general consensus. Relying on statistics and peer-reviewed evidence only confirms the boundaries of what we already know. True innovation requires betting against that consensus and being right about the unknown. Federico Faggin makes this exact contrarian bet. He rejects the materialist consensus that humans are machines, arguing instead that we are immaterial entities. Faggin proposes that consciousness is a non-local field. In this view, we are the observer and the actor within a field that exists outside of space and time. Space-time actually exists within the human mind, making the body a mere instrument rather than the whole self. This bet is the only way to survive the AI era. If we are infinite quantum entities rather than classical computers, we possess a depth of awareness that synthetic architecture can never replicate. In 1492, explorers used new technology to map physical continents. Today, AI points us toward a different kind of terra nova, an internal, uncharted territory. Unlike the geographical discoveries of the past, this frontier is the lifelong work on the self. It is the study of our own consciousness. By automating cognitive labor, AI forces human ambition away from the external acquisition of resources. It leaves us with a surplus of time that must be used to pursue psychological autonomy. The ultimate utility of AI is that it strips away our external distractions. It leaves us with no choice but to finally master our own internal landscape. This shift cannot be solved with better software. It requires us to reach an intellectual and emotional maturity that the machine model discourages. We must first practice love, not as a sentiment, but as the technical mechanism required to overcome the systemic animosity built into our current competitive and machine-like social structures. We need clarity. This is the intellectual honesty required to see through the distortion of obsolete scientific paradigms and recognize the immaterial reality of our own consciousness. Finally, we need courage. This is the active willingness to dismantle the limiting beliefs of the old system, the very structures that allow us to be controlled by the hardware we created. Artificial intelligence acts as a metaphysical mirror. It is the catalyst that forces us to finally reject the machine analogy and remember that we possess an immaterial soul.